Yeah, and I'll go over that.
On The Bachelor, there's one guy with a variety of women. And on The Bachelorette, there's one lady with her choice of a man. But how does this play out in the real world? Do women or men have more options when it comes to dating? And also, how does love languages play a role in relationships? Could these be the make or breaks? And speaking of love, what's the difference between true love and infatuation? Are you truly in love? Or are you in lust?
Quality. What's up, people? We are back.
What's
it's
up?
Quality. We got some special guests. I'm Josh Prophet. I've been here with my girlfriend. Wait, what's your name?
Hey,
My mom gets mad at me because you don't introduce yourself. I always introduce you.
Okay. Hey, I'm Kenya.
And we got some very special guests today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Who you guys?
Go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, my name is Dyshawn. You'll catch me on Twitter, everything, all the handles, Dyshawn OTV. You know, just trying to have a good time with everybody. Quality time.
I love it. And who's the guy sitting next to you?
Hey man, it's Daniel Brown, aka Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan.
On
Okay.
socials, Dan Bro 13. Spending some quality time as well.
Hey.
I love it.
Words right out my mouth.
I love all the quality going on. Speaking of quality, I think it's time to rate our quality. We're going to start with me. Oh, we're spinning some bars up in here. Man, today I got some traditional medicinal peppermint tea.
Okay.
The bars are just flying around. That's my first sip of this ever. I love peppermint tea, but that's my first sip of like this brand. That's a solid 9.5 right there. Little honey. I like it. We're gonna go to Dyshawn. What you got, my man?
All right, got some lemon tea. Let me go ahead and take a quick little sip. Yeah, that's good. I believe that's a 10 out of 10. I ain't gonna lie.
That's a 10 out of 10. I love it.
That's good, man.
I ain't even mad at you. All right, we're gonna go to Kenya. What are you sipping on today, Kenya?
I am also sipping on some peppermint tea.
Okay.
I already had a sip, but I'd have to agree. It's a solid 9.
It's a solid 9. That's what I like.
0.8.
Oh. You went
9.8.
okay.
I love peppermint tea.
Oh, you just tried to outdo me, didn't you? It's all good. And then last but not least, Dapper Dan. What we got? What we sipping on, Dapper Dan?
I did take a sip earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and take another one because it is good.
Okay. What you feeling?
And, I got we got some lemon tea and a little bit of honey.
Mm-hmm.
That little bit of honey does give it about a 9.6.
Oh, okay.
We got some good tea today.
Yeah, we are breaking the Richter scale
Hey,
today.
just so everyone knows, I made the tea today. So.
Hey, thank you, King.
Oh, shout out to yourself, right? Man, I love it. We got a great show today. You saw the intro. We're going to get into a whole lot of stuff. First, I'm going to let these gentlemen introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are, because we need to know who they are before you can even take anything they say with any credibility. So who are you guys? Like, what do y'all do? Let's start with Dyshawn.
All right. I already said, my name is Dyshawn or whatnot. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. Moved to Atlanta when I was like 13. I always was on the go, ups and downs, living with moms and stuff. And, just living life, trying to understand what's going on. I'm only 20, turning 21 in like 30 days.
Oh, okay. You're a young buck.
So, your boy joined the Air Force Reserves, just
I love it.
Doing the thing, trying to get something going with my life.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I can say so far.
I love it. What about you, Dapper Dan?
All right. Like I said, Dapper Dan. I've been here in the area about 17 years. I'm 26. I'll be 27 in a week.
Okay.
I've been here the majority of my life. I currently work out on base as a civil servant in IT. in a relationship, been in a relationship for 6 going on 7 years now.
Okay.
So in terms of the perspective, that's, we have the diverse perspectives today.
I love it. I love it.
Relationships. But yeah, man, I'm just going through life and seeing where God takes me. That's where we're going.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, we are definitely glad to have you gentlemen here. We're going to have, quality conversation, and it seems like you some quality folks. So we're going to get into our first segment. Kenya, what we got going on?
All right. So we got some questions.
All right. Okay.
First question. Who has more options, males or females?
That's a good question right there.
Okay. We start with me. Oh,
Whoever goes first.
I'm just not answering first.
All right, Dan, you go ahead.
I guess okay. I guess I'll go ahead and go first. I feel like this is a topic that over the past couple of years has been, I would say, since quarantine. With the emergence of people like popularity wise in terms of like Kevin Samuels,
right,
and other people, that this has become a very hot topic. It's taken Twitter by storm. Facebook, it's divided a lot of camps.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it when people start talking about it. But for me, I would definitely say I feel as though women have more options. It's the unpopular opinion, it seems, because.
But is it the truth?
But yeah. So I believe that is the actual answer, because there's a host of reasons. I took notes. So, the first thing, you can go as shallow or as deep with this type of question
right.
as you want. You can say, guys have more options because they just don't really have to do much. They just go, hey, there's a girl, I'm gonna ask this girl out. I'm gonna see if I can get with this girl, blah blah blah. And then other people say, well, girls have more options because they're guys want to get with more girls, so they have more people that want them,
right,
instead of it being the other way around. But I feel like the deeper things about this question is, one, I say that women have more options than men because I feel as though it is a matter of if people know their worth in the first place. If you know your worth, then you've now narrowed your scope.
Okay.
In terms of trying to find somebody that's a viable option for you. So in this sense, we have a lot of factors that play into this, such as just modern day society. We have a lot of the ideology of the strong, independent woman. Which has which has really altered the way people view women as a whole and the way that women view men, because they feel as though men are not necessary. They have, they're getting their bag. They're chasing the bag. They're chasing independence. So they're doing their own thing and they don't have to focus on a man. But a lot of society has skewed the views of what is necessary for a relationship. So a lot of the ideas that are out there are more of, what do you bring to the table from the woman's perspective? But it's gotten away from the man saying, I'm, trying to be the man. I'm trying to do all these things and provide. So what are you bringing to the table? So a lot of things that used to be standard or common occurrence, from the, the male and female role of, the man being the breadwinner, being the provider, being the protector of the family, and then, the woman being the one who has the kind of the skill, has the more home skills of being able to cook, being able to raise a family, being able to do all of these things, is kind of flipped upside down. So now with the the role of, you know, the independent woman of being, I'm the breadwinner, I am doing these things. They've lost some of those normal roles, and it's been kind of weird since it flipped.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay, Dyshawn, what do you think about that?
Oh man, I honestly, I totally agree with him. You know, like, you know, females have more of the, how would I say, more of the options and whatnot. Because like, just for instance, like, you know, like you said, like a guy can be like, hey, I want to talk to you, and she be like, no, and then he's, you know, constantly going.
Right.
But with a woman, you know, she can always be like, hey, I want you, I want this, I want that, you know. And it's all, how would I say, like, to dive more into what he was saying about her being independent, wanting what she wants.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like that necessary. It's like I keep looking at you, making me laugh. But you know, it's just a way of like, you know, as a dude, you know, you like growing up, you know, you see girls doing, you know, having the option to do whatever, you know.
Right.
So it's like, as a guy, you like, you know, you're trying your best, you know, you want to, you know, get that girl, get this girl, but you know, like I just said, like she has more options. Choose any man that provides for her and like what she wants. So, but the independent woman thing, it's kind of hard to be a man and like, you know, help the woman when she's, you know, always wanted to be right. independent, and it struggles, you know, for a man, you know, because you want to show her that you really want to be there and like help her out like, as much as you want. And then when you're not helping as much as you want, you feel like, am I less of a man, you know,
or are you even necessary?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so when you see that independent woman like mindset, it's kind of like, you know, like maybe I back off and, you know, and stuff like that. And then you got to think about it. When a man backs off, she has even more options to find what she wants. So, but it's just so much to talk about. Like, this is very
for real.
like, you know, like, it's just like, from what I see, it's like so much going on. And then it's controversial. You can't even like,
you can't talk about it.
Yeah,
without
you talk about it.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
you're a misogynist.
Yes,
exactly.
Right,
So,
right.
You know, I can't go on social media and be like, I don't really vibe with this. And it's like, oh, you don't want a woman to
right. Everybody
feel
just
like,
attacks you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
like, you don't want a woman to be like, hey, I can provide for myself. I can do this myself. And then you got to deal with the scars that she had from like as a child and stuff, like growing up. Like you see her having like single mom dealing with situations, and you know, and I understand that, but there's always different guys out here. You know, it's not really supposed to be in a bias, you know, sense. You know,
understood.
But that's as much I got right now. So yeah,
I got okay. So I'm gonna keep it real simple, right? So from my perspective, women have more options. So plain and simple, because it would take a man, basically, they have to go out and ask more women.
That's true.
To you know, get a girlfriend or clothes or whatever they're trying to do, versus a woman, right?
Yeah.
And furthermore, there's more just guys going after a larger amount of girls, and there's a larger amount of girls going after a smaller amount of men, which is leaving out a large percentage of men. And then going to the independent woman mindset, that is, you know, is basically, you know, conditioning women to only seek that top percent of men. So it's like, I need to date a guy with money. I need to date a guy with this, which, of course, you want a guy who's secure. You want a guy who, you know, is going to provide. But then, it's like, but they're also the top guys that they're chasing are, you know, guys that are, you know, have the typical Playboy model, right? And then so. It's kind of guys' fault too, or it's those guys' fault, but it's also females' responsibility to realize all guys aren't like that, right? And so it's like, okay, you got a top percentage of men who are like, nah, the marriage thing, the relationship thing, that's not for me. I'm just trying to be with as many women as I can. And then women are like, but I only want that guy because he has all the money
and all the stuff together.
And all, right. And it's like, but you skipped over, you know, this solid guy who maybe doesn't make as much money. He's not making like 6 figures, but he's making a very good income, a very stable income that you could live off of if you wanted to, you know, stay home and do your own thing. Or if you worked, if you put both of your incomes together, y'all would be, you know, y'all be in a position to kill it. Right. And so I think that mindset, what a lot of the independent woman, like that mindset comes from, is from seeing the top percentage of men play all these women. And now they're trying to flip it and be like, well, why can't women do the same thing? Like, why is it when women do that, it's called, you know, being out there, right? And doing whatever. But it's like, right. And so that's where
hot girl summer.
That's where you get all this hot girl summer and all that from. But women say they want like love and they say they want a romance, but then they have this mindset, and those are two competing things. And so you can't have both. Right. So there's, in relationships, we talk about you have to sacrifice. And if you're going to have a healthy relationship, you got to sacrifice to become one. Right. You can't just be all independent over here and then want a guy who's just, you know, like where does the guy fit into that? If you're going to do everything, if you're going to make your own decisions, then you're becoming basically that model that you are resenting, but that you were trying to flip on its head. I'll see what I'm saying. And so I guess that's where I said I was going to keep it simple, but then I just
it's good, man.
Yeah, but
that's great.
So that's where I'm at with that. I mean, we can go deeper into the, I guess, individual. Well, let's hear Kenya's perspective a little bit, because she is the lady. She is the lady. So let's hear her really fast. So Kenya, what do you think, like, about just this independent woman mindset?
So I kind of have like a mini story about it. I told them at work. But so when I grew up, my dad was the breadwinner. He worked. He went to work. And my mom, she stayed home with us. She took us to school. She picked us up. When we were sick, she was there. And then, but for some reason in my head, in my mind, I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. Right. I don't want to be at home. That's boring. And then also like social media and Twitter and stuff, they're like, no, I can get the bag too, kind of thing. And then over time, I realized, like, no, I really believe, like, as a woman, we should be nurturers. We should be at home. We should be with our kids as we're growing up and stuff. So the whole independent woman thing, for me, I think you can be an independent woman just, like, in a different way, in a different role.
Okay.
Kind of like an independent woman in your household. But still, like, having the roles and the structures that are supposed to be there. Right. And because I was watching this video, and the guy was like, the man is like the steering wheel, and the woman is like the warning light. She's like the rear view mirrors, the side mirrors. Like, yeah, the man's driving, but the woman is there to be like, okay, don't go crazy. Right. Stay in your lane, you know? Yeah. And I think that's how... At least that's how I try to like model me as a woman, kind of thing, you know.
I like what you said, because you're like women are more of the nurturers, which is kind of like that's just like a more innate thing that, you know, femininity like embodies, right? And so I think what society's gotten into a habit of is trying to change what what feminism is, and trying to change what masculinity is. And it's like, well, you can't like just change the definition of words. Like, you can change people's perception of what these things are, but at the end of the day, like, masculinity, that's defined. That's it. Right. And femininity, that's defined. Right. And then of course, like, they always want to play on like this spectrum thing, which that's fine, but you can't just say something that's, you know, overtly feminine and just say, oh, that's masculine. That doesn't work. It's just maybe something feminine and then you're trying to mask it as being masculine, but that's not what it is, like fundamentally. And so, and we do this with a lot of different things, right? We try to change like people's perception of something that's definite to fit like, you know, an idea, right? And it's an idea so that everybody can just push towards, I guess, like this utopian idea. But that's not going to, it ends up hurting people in the end, and like reversing, like it doesn't end up being helpful to the cause of what they're trying to do, because they're trying to make everybody happy. One, you can't make everybody happy,
Exactly.
right? And I mean, two, it's just not going to be as productive for society if you just look at like, you know, the facts, and they always want to go to science and history and everything. If you just look at it, then what they're saying and is contradictory to what they're saying that is supporting it. So, but yeah, I think that was a good little conversation there.
I want to add.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
And also, like, I don't want to say that doesn't mean you can't go to work. You can't like have your own business. You can't do those kind of things. And I also want to say, like, just because you don't want to fall in the independent woman role or whatever, that doesn't mean to let your boundaries go. That doesn't mean to let your values and your morals go either. Because going back to the options things, if you let all those things go, yeah, what Daniel said, like your options will get bigger, but your pickings will be trash.
Right. Like it's like you're gonna start to degrade your soul, right? Yeah. It's like, okay, I got all these options, but it's like, all right, what good is it if I'm just like, you know, destroying my soul at the end of the day?
Exactly.
So yeah. But I like what you said, that, you know, being an independent woman doesn't necessarily mean you have to, you know, go forth, and you can embrace being independent and within like, you know, a more traditional role.
Yeah.
Right. And be more of the nurturer, be more of, you know, like the housekeeper. I mean, you can still be independent in that role. You can still, you know, have your own business. Like we have a plan.
Yeah.
And one day we'll do like a whole, you know, podcast about that plan. But I mean, it allows you to be you. It allows you to be very independent, but we know, you know,
where you stand, right?
Yeah, we know how we work together to push, you know, to drive the car. Back to your analogy. Back to your analogy.
Yeah.
That's really a really seriously a big thing that kind of modern day society it's gone away from the togetherness. It's gone away from the working in tandem aspect of a relationship. It's more of a selfish and individual type of thing.
What can I get from you?
What are you bringing to me? What am I bringing to you, and not what are we bringing when we come together? Right. That's one of the reasons why things just kind of don't work out for the most part, because people just are focusing on the I, like they're focusing on the I instead of the we a lot of times. Right.
And I like what a lot of people like. There's this guy named Boyce Watkins. I mean, even Kevin Samuels said this as well. Like, you know, getting married is almost like a business agreement, because it is, right? Now, when you go into a business partnership, then both people come in with, okay, I'm obviously going to get something from this person, but we're working together for something greater to push towards, so that we both can be greater, right? And so it's less about what I can just get from this person, but it's more about what we can do together to push forward, right? And that's what a relationship has to be. It has to be, okay, we're coming together to create a product. Not I'm not coming to just take from you, right? But we're coming together to, you know, multiply, right? And so that's where I'm at with that. I mean, I could talk about this all day. We do gotta move on, because we got like 4 more questions. So we're gonna get into question 2. Kenya, what do we got?
What role has love languages played in your relationship?
Yes. 5 love languages. So I I'm all about some love languages. I am. Yeah. If you have not looked into what your actual love languages are, number one, I suggest you do that. Yeah, my girlfriend and I, we've both gone through in a different stages of our relationship. We've gone through and we've read the book, and we've also gone through and done the quiz and everything to see what our love languages are. We started really making a conscious effort about 2 years ago or so to make sure that we know what each other's love languages are, because we started to have some issues. We realized that our love languages shifted. Initially, when we first started our relationship, I was super on the physical touch.
Right.
I was like, oh, I want to hold hands. Oh, I want to, cuddle.
Right.
You know? And now I'm just like, okay, holding hands is cool, but I would much rather you do something that is more meaningful to me. Right. Like right now, I was talking to Kenny in the office about it the other day, but my percentages shifted so drastically from the last 2 times that I took the quiz that now my receiving gifts is like 0%.
Wow.
Receiving gifts does not do much like anything.
Right.
I do well with giving gifts, but in terms of receiving gifts, that's
you don't do.
I'm actually right there.
Yeah,
like that's always been my lowest every time I've taken the quiz.
Receiving gifts and words of affirmation for me are my lowest too. If you tell me, oh, like I love you, you did great, you're great things, you're fantastic, like those types of things. Right. I can appreciate it still, but it doesn't do as much for me as if I'm spending like quality time with you. Right. If I'm, if you do an act of service for me, that's super high in my list. That's the number one thing for me is acts of service. So if you did something for me that I needed done, and I would have pretty much done it done it myself, but you're out of your way to do it for me, that means way more for me than if you're like, hey, I bought you a teddy bear. I'm like, thank you.
No,
I appreciate it.
I hear you.
But the love languages is very important, I think, for anyone in a relationship of any capacity, even if it's just a platonic friendship, for you to know what the other person's love languages are, so that you can actually like help this person. You can actually do things for this person that are meaningful. You can actually resonate with that person on a more personal level, right? Because you'll be actually speaking to this person and not speaking to someone else's preset that they have. Like if I know that. If I know that, Dyshawn, if I know that his thing is quality time, and I'm trying to actually do something for him, and we're friends, and I want to actually, boost him, I'm not going to be like, hey man, I know you've been thinking about it, and your birthday's coming up, so I got you
teddy bear,
stuffed animal. I was like, I got you a stuffed animal that's got your face on it, right? That's sweet. Like it's like that's not
that sounds frightening.
My face on it.
Yeah, man. It's got
where they do that at?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure it's out there somewhere.
I'm probably just put that somewhere. I don't even see it.
Turn it around.
Like that's not gonna.
That's crazy.
You're not gonna be like, oh man, this is really. If I'm like, hey man, we're going to a Hawks game.
Okay,
then that's gonna be something completely different in that regard.
But you're also spending time at the Hawks game in that sense. You're not just exchanging.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying in terms of the actual like spending quality time. But from a relationship perspective, if you want to boost your relationship to that degree, and you want to learn more about your significant other, then that is a huge thing, because like I was saying before about the shift in our love languages, my girlfriend Chelsea she's still high on the physical touch side, but she's also super high in words of affirmation, which is one of my weakest areas. So that's something that for me, I struggle with still.
You gotta,
is the words of affirmation. So I have to make a conscious effort to go out of my way to do things and to give her, words of encouragement, words of, just being like, hey, you're beautiful. And going like just saying you're like telling her like reassuring things that will help her with that, because that's something that we've talked about, and she was like, hey, I'd really like it if you would talk to me more and tell me more things, and just to help me with the words of affirmation part of it. So that's something that is just invaluable as a relationship tool.
Nah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Dyshawn.
All right. I was just looking at you like you killed that, but yeah, with the love languages and everything, I feel like you should know who your partner really is, like to go ahead and like make them feel good, to push them every day, just like how he said. But on my side of things, quality time, and me and my girlfriend's quality time, we always like to spend time with each other. When we're not with each other, it's always like, oh, when you gonna see me? Oh, when I'm gonna see you? Right. It's like, it's funny, but but knowing each other's love languages is a top tier thing. That's like, I feel like in my sense, that's like the next step, to go ahead and like know who that person is. But like Daniel said, I'm gonna have to take that take that test, to see like who she is, who I am. Like right now, I might not even like want to receive gifts as much, because I love receiving gifts, but it's like,
what do you really like? That's what. But
What's
that's
the
what
top?
that's what the test does for you. It really. It puts you in a position to really think about some of these things, and then it ranks them for you so that you kind of know exactly where you stand. Because back to what Dapper Dan was saying, you could fall in love with a preset, or you just have the preset of that person in your mind, and you just have this idea of, okay, this is who she is. Like I'm just going to do this because this is what I think she is. But when you take a test, and then when you start putting, things into action based off that test, then you start to unveil like who she is, like in a deeper sense, right? Because we can all have these ideas of what people are, but until we start engaging with them, until we start peeling back the layers, then we're not really ever going to, learn. Like one of my things with Kenya is explore the depths of your soul, right? Like that's like my goal. Like if her dad was like, what are your intentions with my daughter? I'm gonna be like, look, bro. I'm not gonna say bro. I'm not gonna say bro. I'm gonna say, sir. I'm gonna say, hey, look, I think your daughter's incredible, and all I intend to do is to go through life with her and explore the depths of her soul. Because when you do that, it's going back to what we were just saying. Now we're coming together as one to make a product, right? To make an impact on the world, to make an impact for our family. And so that as the family continues, like it's generation, that's generational wealth, right? And so like, you can talk about the monetary stuff. You can talk about, the physical resources that you can stack, but it's like on a soul level, what generational wealth are you leaving for your family, right? Like because that. There's always those generational curses, right? That always come up. It's like, okay, we got this in my family. We got this in my family. And it's like a repeated cycle. And it's like, you need somebody that is walking through life with you that's going to help you break those cycles. And that's why quality is like, we want you to aim for higher purpose so that you can break your curses. And that's why we want to have quality conversations with quality people, so that we're bringing people together. Because when you do that and you have quality people that you're doing that with, then you're able to, unveil more within yourself. Take that and you're able to transform your life, right? And shed those curses and build that wealth for yourself. And so, that's where I'm at with, I didn't say anything about a love language, but that's how you technically you did. That's how you put it into practice, right? That's what the application of it is, and I think that's super important as like you go through life, is not just knowing, what that person is about, but knowing who they are, like knowing really who they are. So, anybody else got anything to add on the topic? Oh, I don't know. No. All right. Kenya, you got anything?
I don't have like a big nugget or anything, but I think it's pretty cool that me and you have like the same. Our top love languages are the same, so it makes things easier.
Right, because it's almost natural to us.
Yeah. And I also heard somewhere like whatever your top one is, that's what you express to other people, like just naturally, because that's what you. That's what you are. That's what you like.
Right.
And which goes back to it's important to know your love languages for your friends, for your family members, for your partner, just so you can express that. And so they feel appreciated when you do things for them.
Right. I definitely agree with that, man. That was another quality conversation. We need to take a sip of tea here, guys. Like everybody, glasses up. Yeah, take a gulp for that. Man, Kenya. We're gonna move on to the next topic. Next question. What do we got?
What is the difference between infatuation and love?
Ooh.
Yes.
I like this one. I'm ready to body this one. All right, what we got, guys? Yeah, I'm ready to body this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the difference between infatuation and actual love, I feel like infatuation is like, when you see that person for the first time,
right?
And you be like, oh, wow, I think I want her. I think but it turns out to be an actual, just a thought,
right?
Not really actually thinking about loving her or talking to her, like talking about what she want to go in life, and not actually thinking about the down the road, So that's what infatuation I believe would be, and but the love part, that is actually like taking the time out, taking to see who she is as a person,
right?
Or taking the time to see how that person makes you feel and how you can help that person throughout life and pushing them, just like you said in another conversation, you was together to make a product. I really like that. I ain't gonna lie, I really do like that. That's nice.
Honestly, I just came up with that on the spot.
I really do.
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, so, but that love, and, when you love that person, it's like you can be mad at each other. You can, there could be a lot of things going on, but at the end of the day, love is like that unbreakable bond,
right?
Between you and that person. It's just like very unbreakable. I mean, like y'all can go through hell and back,
right?
Like and like that person have your back, and you have
that's unconditional, right?
Yeah,
there.
unconditional.
No, yeah,
exactly. Sure. But the infatuation part, it's just like in the moment. You're not thinking about none of that. You just like, oh, I guess I'll mess with her, or like you with the homeboys, like, hey,
right,
man, I saw the girl, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I think she the one for me, But even though during those situations, you never know, like,
right.
You might be like in the moment then, and then it turns to love. It's crazy,
right.
But at the same time, when during that infatuation, you never know what kind of love you're gonna get. You might have that toxic love. You might have that love that just, that love that always just bite back. Without being just, like I said, unconditional and just flowing through. So that's why I believe the difference between infatuation and love is.
I like that, and I like what you said. It's like just a thought.
Yeah.
Or it's just a thought.
Yeah.
It could just be a thought. That could be the difference. All right, Dan. What we got, man?
Oh man. So I've been waiting on this question too, because I was like, oh man, here we go.
You're rubbing your hands. You're just like,
I just here rubbing my hands together like Birdman. Yeah. Because I'm like,
he said Birdman.
Because this is another one, like I said in the first one, you can go as short, you can go as shallow or as deep as you want.
Right.
The shallow answer is that, love is long, infatuation is short.
Yes.
Love is deep, infatuation is shallow. Like it's infatuation is physical. Love is deeper than that. It's more than, it's always, infatuation is always physical. That's something that I've argued with people in the past.
Right.
Because this is why I was so excited, because I'm like, I have this argument with people all the time.
Right.
Because people will be like, oh man, what do you think I should do? Because if there's this girl and oh, she's really. I'm like, okay, how long have you known her, and what have you guys done?
Right.
And what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, we met and we sat and we talked for a while and blah 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 and all this stuff. I'm like, okay.
Is at the park.
Yeah, I was like, it's it's in a park in a dark car. Right. Me and her for like 3 hours. I'm like, okay, infatuation it is. So, I'm like, let me know what happens in the next 2 weeks, because I'm like, okay, we have this level of just shallow base honeymoon phase, because you're focusing on nothing but the positives. You always focus on nothing but the positives about this person. You don't ever focus on anything else. It doesn't matter if it's a glaring negative that everyone else sees. You're just like, man, this girl is so cool. This girl understands
blinded,
me.
right?
She knows me. We hit it off. We're just vibing and everything else. But essentially, it's still physical.
Right.
Even if you get to a point where you're on a mental understanding of each other, right, it's still physical, because there was still physical attraction in the first place.
Yeah. Right.
So
because you see
again, because there's that physical attraction, blinders. So love is deep. Love is unconditional. Love is focusing on not only the perfection but the imperfection of somebody. Yeah. I actually had this conversation with Chelsea yesterday about love. We talked about the fact that love is essentially two imperfect people accepting each other's flaws.
Right.
Accepting the fact that you are not perfect. I am not perfect. Am I willing to put up with the fact that you're not perfect? Am I willing to deal with the fact that you're not perfect? Am I willing to accept the fact that I am never going to be perfect? And how can we help each other to grow? How are we going to be able to cover each other's imperfections? How are we going to together move forward so that we can build a product?
Hey, there it is.
And we can make a product that is better than us. How can we turn our imperfections into something that's close to perfection?
Beautiful. Yeah.
And that is, to me, that's really what that the true difference is between love and infatuation, because it's literally just the short version of it is literally just physical versus mental, emotional, spiritual. And when you look at it that way, you go, it makes it a lot easier to tell the difference. If you're really just looking at a situation, because you're like, man, I met this girl, blah blah blah. And you're like, okay, if you go through the top four, and you go through physical check, mental, emotional check, spiritual, that right there, you're like, well.
I mean, those categories, you just went down like as if they were all equal, but those are like weighted differently.
Oh yeah, and I know they're
but if you just get on the list like right there, it's an easy no. Yeah.
But man.
I like it. I'm gonna disagree slightly with you.
Yes.
Just slightly.
Okay.
Well, maybe just kind of tweak something, because I don't necessarily disagree with you. So I think for men, it's like physical versus, okay, I'm actually, peeling back the layers to her soul. But I also think a lot of women get caught in, all right, I have this list. He's got to check this. And if I see a guy, which that's the physical part, and he matches everything on the list and he checks that ideal, then they can almost go into like this mental thing where they're just like, okay, I can't leave the relationship because he checks everything off my list. Like, he's perfect. Like, this is it. This is what I paid for, right? But and they almost become like, like mentally just, bound by the ideal of it. But it starts with outer appearance of what looked like on the surface, and the root problem is, and I think we actually did these questions backwards, right? Because the root problem is you didn't take the time to get to know that person, right? Yeah, you didn't understand that person, whether you did a love language quiz or not. You didn't take the time to understand, all right, what is it about this person that I can serve. So like that's the difference between infatuation and love. Yeah. Infatuation's all about, the outer appearance of, all right, this person looks like this. Are they going to make me look good? What can I get from them? But love is like, okay, that I have this physical attraction, right? Mm-hmm. We vibe. Like, I mean, you're in vibe with a lot of people in your life. Let's be honest. Yeah. We vibe, but now I'm ready to devote my life to this person and really be of service to this person. So that's like the biggest difference between infatuation and love is like, now I'm going to serve this person and devote my life to the service of this person. It's like, it's not about me anymore, right? It's about, yes, I got to have myself together, but I got to push this person to be the best that she can be or be the best that he can be if you're a female. And so that was the difference that I had was like, you really got to just devote your life. And I like what you said, like, basically you say what I say a lot of times. It's like, you got to find somebody you could tolerate for the rest of your life. This is plain and simple. Yeah. It's like, nobody's perfect. They're all going to have flaws. They're going to get on your nerves sometimes, but that's it's like through all of that, like, are they going to be there?
Unconditionally.
Exactly.
Can I have your best interest at heart?
Yeah. Do they have your best interest at heart? I'm always going to go back to that person because I know, like, deep rooted, I love them and I know that they love me and I'm here to serve them no matter what, no matter if we're going through good times, no matter if we're going through bad times. And that's why, for better or worse, it's so crucial when you say that, like, you have to really mean it because if you don't, then you end up divorced, like 50%. Right, I think it's over 50% now.
Nowadays.
Of marriages, and so like, but if you devoted your life to the service of that person, then you do mean it. Yeah, because it's gonna reflect in your actions. It's not just you didn't just say it in a vow. Kendra, do you have anything?
I do.
Let's go. Right. Let's go, little shawty.
Okay, so infatuation. A lot of y'all touched on, physical. But I think for girls, we tend to be more like feelings. And we're more like, oh, I have all these butterflies. Like, he gives me butterflies. Right. I love him so much. And really, it's like not love. It's feelings. It's the butterflies. It's how he makes you feel. And love is more of the action, which is what you pointed out. Action. And I feel like you cannot talk about love without talking about Christ. Because Christ is the definition of love, agape love, and back to the service and having devotion. Like for me, when I was single, I was like, whoever I date next, they have to treat me how Christ loves the church. Yep. And and I think that, like, when you have that standard, like, I know everyone does not believe, Christ is our savior, but just having that standard really sets the precedent of love and what love is and how to love not only like your partner, but yourself, love your family, love whoever you come across,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my take.
But I like what you said, like, the standard, right? Like, a lot of people don't have a standard beyond, like, what they've come up with in their mind. Yeah. And then when you think about, like, who you are and how broken you are, it's like, why would you follow a standard that you've set? Yeah. Right? When there's a standard out there that's probably much better, right? Yeah. And it is much better. Yeah. Like, and it's proven to be much better. And so it's like, a lot of people are just, slaves to their feelings, back to what you just said. And like, oh, I just feel this and I just feel that. And they get too caught up in, what their heart says, right? Yeah. I always say, like, your heart's gonna lie to you. Don't follow your heart. It lies. Right.
Deceitful.
Right.
It says, the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? That's like, we all know this. People say, follow your heart. I'm like, no, let's follow your heart.
You might want to rethink that.
You don't want to go. That's what's going to end up happening.
Right. No, I like that. I mean, there's definitely moments when, you can take that leap and really, press forward. But like, is it like, on a moral, like, on a grounded level, are both decisions like, equal, right? And then that's when you can make the toss up of, okay, I can go left or I can go right, because either way, like, they're both kind of equal in weight, right? I'm just choosing, which path I want to take that's going to lead me to the same place, because ultimately we're all just trying to, aim towards heaven. Yeah. Right. And I'm not going to get into the whole aim thing, because I'll be here forever. I'll be here forever. But no, that was another quality conversation. We're about to take another sip. All right. I'm gonna put I didn't turn this around, show the quality logo. Yeah, we're gonna put the glasses up, take another sip, and move on to our next topic. Kenya, what do we have?
We have, what advice would you give to men who are younger than you that are starting to date?
Man, I got a younger little brother.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what would you tell him?
Yeah. He trying to be a player, but I'm like, hey, man, hey.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm already saying, like, don't do it. It's a trap. You know, like, putting your feelings everywhere, trying to get her. And I was like, little bro, man, like, you gotta do all that. Focus on yourself first.
Right.
You try to get a car, you want to, you want to do all these things. And then when that whoever little girl that is, be like, I want to go to the mall, get some Chinese food. I don't know how much maybe my little girl think, but yeah, I would, like, what I tell them all the time is, like, always focus on yourself first, because, like, you don't know what's broken in you.
Yeah.
So, like, me and my brother, been through a lot of stuff, and you never know what you pick up from your parents. Yep. Never know, like, stuff that that still lingers in your heart, as you like I heard from Dapper Dan over here, going to therapy and stuff like that.
Right.
You never know if you needed that, because like, when you growing up, you take all this stuff with you, like, you're just going down this path, and then you get a girl and be like, oh, I'm perfect, I'm good,
right?
And then she like, I don't like what you're doing. What you mean you don't like what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? I thought I was cool. You know what I'm saying? You like me, I like you. And I'm just explaining that to my brother, and I'm like, not all girls, gonna like certain things that you do, because
right.
You don't. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't know himself, but more of, like, get to know yourself more.
And, like, heal.
Yeah, heal, exactly.
Yeah. Like, make yourself, more whole before you, like, just try to bring somebody else in. Yeah.
Exactly.
I definitely feel you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
real quick, well, hold up, before you start. I definitely want you to answer the question for sure.
Okay.
But I want you to also, because you're older than Dyshawn, I want you to answer the question, but then I want you to give advice to Dyshawn for him and his position.
Yes. Yes, man. So I'm the youngest in my family. I have 3 older siblings. I have 2 older brothers and an oldest sister. So when it comes to getting advice, I'm always the one getting advice. And in recent times, or recent developments, I've had to give advice to my older brother, because he's recently divorced and he's getting back out there and everything, and he's asking me questions, and I thought it was actually interesting and pretty cool, because I'm in this situation where the roles are reversed. So I'm giving him advice and what he thinks and what he's got going on, because he's trying to get back there. But in terms of advice, so my girlfriend's little brother is 12. He's 12. So he, he's just getting to that point. His voice is starting to get a little deeper, and he's noticing girls. And I'm like, yo, Aiden. Every time I talk to him, he's like, oh man, there's this girl at school. I'm like, hey man, the best advice I can give you is to focus on yourself. Focus on school. Focus on the things that you have going on. He's frequenting church as well, and I'm like, focus on church.
Right.
Focus on,
that's what I'm talking about.
Probably something that, of course, like my dad gave me advice about girls and different things, and he was like, make a list. I'm like, make a list. Like, what do I need to make a list for? I'm good. I don't need to make a list.
What you said the list was for?
Yeah, what's the list for?
So he's like, make a list of all of the things that you were looking for in a potential mate. Look for these things. If you're number one, most important, be rooted in your faith. That's the number one thing. If you're not in the Word, you don't know. You're not going to be able to tell what God's wants for you. You're not going to know. You're not going to be able to discern His will because you're not in the Word. You're not rooted. You're just free falling at that point. You're not going to be able to figure out what is for you.
Right.
So that's the number one thing. Is if you're not rooted in your faith, get rooted. 2, make a list. It can be as trivial or as deep as you want it to be. But the main thing is for you, it doesn't have to be like, oh man, I want a 5'9". Look, it doesn't have to, but it can be. But the biggest thing is that you want to make sure that you have a mental picture.
Yeah.
You want to have a mental picture of somebody that you desire. It's not something that's it's not static. It's something that's going to change over time. But the thing is, the appearance of the person is going to change, but the core values should not. There are going to be things on there that you need. And the main reason why I say make a list is because if you don't make a list and you find a girl, you're like, man, this girl is great, man. This girl, she's attractive. She's all these different things. She's really cool. She loves me, blah, 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 blah. And you say, let me go ahead and make a list. You're making the list and it's now been altered because you're doing things to fit this girl into your list. This might not be the girl that's for you. This might not be the girl that you're supposed to be with, but you're now making exceptions because you're saying, I'm building my list around this person. So if you make your list, you make your things where you're like, I need some, or if you already know something that is something that you need, right? If you're like, I need somebody, it can be something as simple as I need somebody who can cook.
Yeah.
If you can burn water, and you're like, I have to have somebody who can cook or we're not going to survive, then that has to be on your list.
Right. This man said burn water.
People
be
do
evaporated.
But ultimately, just
that's wild.
Being able to go through and have qualities and traits that are desirable to you. That's a huge thing. And I would say before you find the person that you're trying to, go all in on, you make sure you have some form of a list in some capacity beforehand, because after the fact, it is 1,000 times harder. Because I've been there and I did that myself, and it took me a while to make this list because I was like, I don't need to make a list. And then I started to go out and, get in half-hearted relationships with people. And I was like, man, what's supposed to be, what am I looking like? What's wrong? Why are these not working? All these different kinds of things. And I was like, let me actually make a little bit of a list. So I started making a list. And, I had it in my little iPod Touch. My second generation
That's a
iPod
throwback
Touch,
right there.
and I had that list going. And then I started noticing that these girls that I was talking to or that I was just, trying to pursue were becoming more substantial and things of that nature. So that's something that I would say for you specifically, because we've talked. We've talked off the record. Yeah. So, I know a bit about you and your situation, your current relationship. Yeah. And I would say, those things in terms of, like we talked about with therapy and growth, that's a huge thing. And that's, the things that you've been through. There are things that you're going to need to sort out within yourself to know yourself better. There are things that that she's going to have to learn with herself. And there's, as individuals, There are things that you're going to have to go back, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to work on yourself to make sure that you're not bringing undesirable things from your past experiences into a relationship going forward. So I would say make sure that you do take time to focus on yourself. I know that you spend time with your girlfriend. You spend a lot of time with your girlfriend. Yeah. But make sure that you give yourself and make sure that she has enough time to spend dealing with your own personal things. So that it's not that you're wrapped up in her and she's wrapped up in you 24/7, because eventually that won't become something that's a healthy thing in your relationship.
I really do appreciate that.
Yeah. Man, I feel like we're having therapy in here right now. That was good. That was good. Kenya, do you have anything on this topic here? Huh? You good?
I mean, I do, but
Oh,
go ahead.
But wait, no, I don't. I have the daughter one. My bad.
Oh,
okay. No. I mean, I don't have much. I think y'all just hit it. And I mean, they're gonna see on this channel all my dating advice, relationship and dating advice. So, I'll keep mine short. I like what you said about the list and the writing it out, like the process of writing. It doesn't even have to be like just writing goals out.
Yeah.
It gives you something. It makes the goal tangible, right? And so it's not just an idea, and you're not just following your heart, back to that, and just walking around. But now that you've put it on paper,
yes,
like you thought it, you've written it, and now you can see it, and so now you can go back to it, and every day you can do like a self check, like, okay, this is what I said I wanted. Have I taken steps to get there? Yes. How far have I come today? And you can press towards that every day, or you can even, go through the process of elimination. Okay, I thought that's what I wanted until I wrote it down and I started pressing towards it, and it's like, hey, I'm not really feeling that, right?
Okay, I have something.
Okay, what you got?
Oh, spicy.
So, how can I word this? I am a big proponent of not. Okay, if I was talking to a young man today, hello, I would suggest. I would say, don't think with your second head.
Okay.
That's my 2
Wow,
cents.
that was short and sweet.
Yeah.
But to the point.
I like it. I
mean, that's very solid advice.
Yes.
I like it. I think we're ready to move on to our final conversation. Y'all take a sip. All right.
Take a sip.
Take a sip, and then Kenya introduce the topic.
If you had a daughter, what advice would you give her?
Start with Dyshawn on that one.
Yeah, so if I had a daughter, man, stay out of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But no, on a serious note, I would tell her, like, hey, there's some qualities in men that you don't want. You don't want. Yeah. So, but honestly, I'll just put it on game about, what dudes could be doing,
right.
The people I hanged around with, it's like, I feel like it's very simple, but like in a sense, girls can be kind of sneaky,
Right,
like,
right.
I ain't gonna tell her dad I got a little boyfriend, but like, it's just like being able to trust your daughter to like, go ahead and listen to you as a man, trying to, put her in game, and like telling her what to look out for. Because, as a man, I feel like when you have a daughter and you see her like crying and like,
right.
about certain things that, that may have hurt her, and you just look at it like, wow, like she got hurt by a person that, like a person that, you were used to be, and
right,
like, wow, like,
yeah, it's deep.
you just sit there looking like, am I really like back in the day, did I really hurt people's daughters like that? You know, you gotta think about that.
Like, did she go home to her father like that?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, but later on the line, you know, it's just, I feel like you got to be very protective of your daughter, you know, like get her to understand her feelings and get her to write down her list, you know?
Exactly.
You know, get her to understand what she want and what she doesn't want, you know? I'm not telling her to be, you know, like a super independent woman, you know, and go and have a hot girl or something to get your money up. Don't worry about no man, no nothing. I'm just saying, like, just be yourself and understand who you are. You know, that's what I would tell her. And I would tell her, like, to my days, and honestly, you know, even if she get her first heartbreak, you know, I would tell her, like, hey, you know your worth, you know, but find a man who knows you know your worth, you know, knows that you're worth it, you're worth the world, like he'll put you before the world, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, that's all I got most of it. So.
Okay. Damn, what you got?
Yeah, man. Number one, girls terrify me. You know, thinking about kids and everything.
That's hilarious.
Terrified. Thinking about having a little girl. Because number one, just turn into like a puddle. You know, I feel like, you know, this rough exterior ended up turning into
big teddy
just
bear.
the softest of teddy bears. But piggybacking off what Dyshawn was saying, it's something I think about a lot, actually.
Right.
In terms of just because it's thinking about kids and thinking about how I would raise kids and what kind of things, and you know, going back even further, just talking about like generational curses. That's something that I'm very conscious of. My siblings and I have discussions about that on a regular basis. Coming from Jamaican culture, it's quite different than, you know, American culture, and there's some things that are desirable and there's some things that are not necessarily. So in terms of like not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, making sure that we talk about those things and figure out what things we want to bring in. So my sister has 4 kids, 3 daughters, 1 son, and I've had discussions with my brother-in-law a great deal about how they're raising his daughters, and talking about the different things and how things are brought up in, you know, in stages of their lives and everything. My oldest niece is 10. So like going from there and just saying like, how are you going about doing these things? Biggest thing is, you know, knowing knowing who you are, knowing whose you are, you know, from an aspect of knowing that, you know, knowing who you are as a person, knowing who you belong to in terms of family, and knowing that you have, you know, we're giving you all the tools to succeed. And it's up to you to, when you leave the house, to put those into practice. Right. But then also, you know, the core values that are being taught from you know, a religious standpoint. You know, and like seeing how those apply to not just when you're at church, but when you go out into the world and you're around other people and you're influencing other people and other people are telling you to do things, and just, you know, that kind of stuff is like being able to apply that. But I'm rambling. So going back to going back to the actual question itself, like in terms of advice, knowing your worth is huge. Right. That is something that people don't learn until they get hurt a lot. Yeah. And then they wake up and they, you know, they think they just boss up, and they're like, I'm not accepting this. I'm not accepting this from anybody ever again. I know what I'm worth, and other people are gonna have to wake up and get hip or get out type of thing. But if you know your worth from a young age, that is powerful. That is invaluable. Right. Because people are going to look at you like you're crazy because you're like, you need to learn my way. Right. It's like, you know, and if you have a good relationship as a father-daughter relationships are weird. I say weird, but not in a bad way, not in like a strange way. But I mean, in a sense that if you have a good relationship with your father as a daughter, that's setting a standard. That's setting a standard of, my father treats me this way. I see the way he treats my mother. So you have a standard for how should a man treat a woman. How does a man treat me? So you see how you're loved. You're seeing how you're talked to, how you're treated, and you apply that to you in terms of knowing your worth. And then you see that from your mother, and you see how she values herself and knows her worth. So that also applies twofold. So from having a good relationship with your father and your father having a good relationship with your mother, you see that, so you can apply it to yourself when you go out, and you can say, if a man does not treat me the way that my father treats my mother, or that my father treats me, then I don't want it. And that puts people on edge because there, there's that percentage of guys who go out there and they're like, hey, what's up? We're just here to have, we're not here for a long time. We're just here for a fun time.
Right.
And they're not trying to respect people. So they're out here and they're not respecting women. And then those women who know their worth are like, miss me with that.
Right.
I'll pass. And people look at them like they're crazy. Like, why would you not hang out with this person? Why would you not go to this party? Why would you not do that? And it's like, because I respect myself and I know that if I go into this environment, I'm not going to be respected and I'm not going to be held to the standard that I should be set. And I should be held to.
Yeah.
So it's like when I say that the father-daughter relationship is weird, I mean that it's 50-50 because it's like you either have this relationship or you don't. And even if you have a good relationship with your father, if your father is not somebody who values your mother's, just doesn't value your mom, then you don't have the full potential of knowing your worth. Because you can say, my dad loves me, but he treats my mom this way. And then you say, well, that's something that I view as normal. So when you go outside and someone treats you that way, you go, okay, normal. Well, that's normal. That's something that I've experienced. So that's something that I think is acceptable, rather than it being on the other side where somebody is like, my dad treats my mom like a queen. He treats me like a princess. So in that regard, you have, man, that could go into all kinds of different things.
Right.
Yeah, so that just kind of wrapping that up. That's something. That's some advice. Making a list, knowing your worth. That's really the two biggest things in terms of that.
Yeah, I like it. Like I would, going off of the knowing your worth, it's like when your daughter knows her worth, she knows who's worth her time.
Yes,
and so it's like she's not going to, even entertain some guys because she knows that they're not even, that they're not of value, right? Not on her level in the long run. And that kind of goes into how the advice that I would give to my daughter is, first of all, I'm going to raise her on ground her in biblical principles. And so, and with the idea of that is that she never departs from them, right? And so then I'm going to tell her, look, you're going to be exposed to all this stuff in the world, right? You're going to be exposed to, you should be an independent woman. You're going to be exposed to hot girl summer. You're going to be exposed to all these different things.
You're not going to sugarcoat it.
Right. But here are the consequences of it.
Exactly.
Right. Because at the same time, she's her own person. And if you just, chokehold them and shelter them, then they'll get out in the world and they'll be like, oh, I can try. Yeah. But if they understand, this is what I'm up against, then and you've given them a game plan, then they know how to, they know how to beat the other team, right? They know how to defeat the enemy. It's like, just like in sports, like you watch film, like in football and basketball, I mean, even in baseball now, you watch film of what the other team's going to do to you. You get scouting reports, right? So the other team, they might not have the same strategy as you. They probably don't, but you understand their strategy. So you understand how to, navigate through so that you can come out victorious. Absolutely. And so that's one thing that I would give my daughter is like, look, You're gonna be grounded. These are values, and here are the consequences of each, right? The pros and the cons, right? Now, I'd much rather you be on this side as your father. But, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, you're still your own person. But, you know, and then the other thing, it just escaped me. It literally just escaped me. It had to do with the sports.
Baseball.
It was something. It was right there. I'll go to Kenya. I'll probably think of it.
Okay.
So Kenya, what do you got?
All right. So, of course, like y'all said, biblical teaching and just trying to instill in her that she belongs to the Lord and that he sees her as beautiful. And then he created her in my womb and everything like that. Just making sure like she knows that she is valued and she's worth so much. And then I would try to instill in her to love herself, know what she likes, have hobbies. Just have that confidence in herself. And I would tell her, before you get in a relationship, of course it's not going to be perfect, but like going back to like the confidence and knowing yourself, like just being a whole person before going into a relationship, or being as whole as you can be before going into a relationship, because that brokenness can cause so many issues down the road. If two broken people come together, it can be a mess. And then I would say lock up the cookie is what I would say.
Lock up the cookie. Okay.
I mean, it's true.
I would, but of course, like you said, like you would tell her the consequences of if she decides not to do that, because eventually she'll get to a point where she will make the decision for herself to do that.
Curiosity.
But, so just making sure she understands both sides and why I'm telling her that and why, biblically it says that. Okay. And then I would tell her all my mistakes and what I did in my past, so she can understand why I'm saying everything that I'm saying from personal experience. And going back to the list thing, I would tell her to write a list of not what she wants in a boyfriend, but in a husband and as a father for her future kids.
That's a good one. Like,
solid.
Would you want this guy to be a father to, like your kids? Like, why would you date somebody wouldn't be fit for that role?
Yeah.
All right. That's good. And I remember it had to do with what Dan said, was like the dynamic between the father and the daughter, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, that is so crucial, because as a father, you're showing your daughter like exactly what the male-female relationship should be, because she's with you most of the time, like in that dynamic. And so then when you don't release her out to the wild, but like when she goes outside.
I mean, if you're in Atlanta,
but when she goes outside and then she's now confronted with that same dynamic, and now she's older and it's like attraction.
Yeah.
She knows how to navigate that, because at home she's shown this, but if she doesn't have that father figure in the picture, or she has a poor example of a father figure,
she's always guessing, right?
And she's guessing, or she's going to just do what that father figure was doing, right? So if, say, that father figure was, out on her mom, then, independent woman, that clicks with her, right? Because it's like, well, if guys can do it, my dad did it, I can do it too, right? Yep. Or even if the parents are divorced and the guy's single, but he's just out living that life. Like, that could also be detrimental as well. Yeah. And so that dynamic is so crucial, and you really have to, be mindful of that. And I might even think about having kids anytime soon, but these are things that you need to think about, like, as you're growing up and as you're thinking about getting into a relationship and planning out your future, especially if you want children. And so that's why I think it's important. But this has been great.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, though,
Yeah.
got Rapid Fire presented by Wartown Creative.
Rapid fire.
So we're gonna answer these questions. Dan is gonna go first.
All right.
Dyshawn's gonna go second. Okay.
All right.
So Kenya, whenever you are ready,
All right.
ask away.
Okay, these are quick. Okay,
All
quick
right.
answers.
Okay.
What should be the number one deal breaker in relationships?
Ooh.
Quick.
A lack of communication.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Your turn.
Next.
Yes.
The lack of. He took the one I wanted to. The lack of. Alright, let's see.
I'm gonna hop back on dishonesty. That's a huge one.
Okay.
Dishonesty.
The lack of getting to know each other, I guess. You know.
Okay.
Okay.
Going deeper. Okay.
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 We gotta speed this up.
What's your idea of a perfect date?
Spending quality time together.
Going out. Yeah.
All right.
Do you think men are emotionally weaker than women? Yes or no question?
No.
Yes or no question?
No.
Wants to be weaker? Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Does age matter?
Yes.
Yes.
Does parent approval matter?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. That is it. That was it. Wow, that was the longest rapid fire round named a man. Wow. That was some rapid fire. Y'all, if this was Family Feud, y'all would not have gotten $20,000.
No, you would have got it. I would have.
You know, I always love when they're like, they answer a question and everybody's like, good answer. There would have been none of that.
It's so fun. Oh man.
I remember that time you were saying the dude kept saying the same thing.
I went to my girlfriend and I went with her family to Family Feud taping, and this guy just kept saying the same answer. He kept saying the same answers the rest of his family already said like 5 times. And Steve was like, if this happens one more time, we're just going to roll with it. And the next one, he said it, and his family was like, are you serious? And then they put up the thing, because they have like a thing when you're supposed to applaud and everything. We're like,
right.
Oh. Oh, man.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Man, this has been great. I've had a really good conversation with you gentlemen. I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick before we wrap up, I want you to give your last words. Also tell the people where they can find you online or just where they can find you.
All right. My last words about the conversation. The tea was good. 10 out of 10. You know.
There we go.
I'm finished with the tea. You know what I'm saying? It was good. But seriously, no, about the conversation. I believe everybody should figure out who they are as a person before they get into that relationship. Because if you don't know who you are, you can end up being a detrimental to that person that you're trying to get with, you know, or vice versa. You know, it's always good to find out who you are as a person. But to, wrap it up, you can find me. My name's Dyshawn OTB. You can find me all Twitter handles and Instagram, everything, same thing.
Awesome.
Check out music.
There we go. Dapper Dan, what we got?
Yeah. Make sure you have a list, man.
Yeah.
List is important. If you're already in a relationship, make the list anyway. Make sure you key in on those traits, man. Shameless plug once again for Gary Chapman, 5 Love Languages. That is an essential tool. There's an app. It's very, very good if you are in a relationship. If you're in a just girlfriend, boyfriend, marriage, the relationship app is fantastic. It's called Love Nudge. It's fantastic. But overall, yeah, thanks for having me. You can find me on my socials, Danbro13, DANBR013 on all social media. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
This was great. Kenya, where can they find you? Or just, do you have any last words? They know where to find you. It's all popping up. So.
Last words.
Hey.
That's good. That's good. All right. This was a quality conversation. Hey. Go ahead and like this video. If it brought you value, join the conversation in the comments. All right. This is quality conversation. Oh yeah, real quick. We got a Facebook group.
Join the Facebook group.
We're doing different things. We're continuing conversations there. We're starting new conversations there. Every day of the week. It's lit. So go and join that. It's up on the screen. Man, this is quality conversations with quality people. Until next time, remember to always be blessed.
Peace. Bye.